So we're back in a moment. It's been a moment, something like that, I don't know. So we're still booting up the Naomi again because there's something else I wanted to show you. You'll remember from the last video that we were hanging out in the dim board test mode, and that's not where we wanted to be. So we're going to show you this boot up process after I reset it. So we'll see checking network. Checking network? That's right. So the dim board itself, of course, has the network connections on it, which we saw before, and somehow I pluralized that word. Anyway, so what we're going to do is head in here, flip around, because I'm not paying attention. Forget what I was doing. Why am I in here? Damn it. Welcome back. So you remember from the last video I was playing around with the menus. Now, in the meantime, I've taken two Naomi and stacked them on top of each other. This is the Naomi Voltron configuration. We're going to get some cats, put them on the side, because as we all know, not only is Voltron a great series, but it's also a verb. So to Voltron Naomi, as you can see, has been completed. And once you Voltron things, then that means you don't see any Power Rangers as a verb. You can't Power Range or something, but you can Voltron. I don't know what's going on here. Let's get back to what we were doing. So, as you see, this top Naomi has nothing in the top. That's the old EPR 21577 BIOS that's in it. In the last video, I was fumbling around the BIOS menu for no apparent reason because the Naomi below it actually has a more updated BIOS. And it's in Japanese because you can't play video games properly if you don't have the Moonspeak. It's a requirement. So, this Naomi's running. Bam. Now the gateway cannot be found. Again, we mentioned that before. There is no security pick in this hole. There's nothing in here. Sometimes on these NetDems, somebody will put a security pick without the plastic doohickey into here, so you won't be able to see it. You'll only be able to see the top of the IC. But in my case, I don't have a network pick. A network pick is a special pick that was used in satellite systems, which again, you can look all this up online. There's also network picks out there with 0 keys, which was a big thing for a while, but it's not anymore. It's a long story. Look up the history if you want. But the important thing is I do not have a pick, and I do have an error 34, and I do not have a pick, and I do have an error 34. Yes, that's a pattern right there. So we'll get back to that later. It's an important part, though. Remember that. So this time we're going to go into the test mode, and it's going to work because I'm using the right piece of equipment. We'll just hang out here. How's it going? You can see my reflection, holding the camera. Feel like a goo. Oh, here we go. So, you'll notice in this time, when we went into the test menu, there is a little VxWorks things over at the side. That's, I don't know if that's the name of a company or what that comes from. I don't know what that is. But we also have network settings right below the dim board test here. We're going to head into our network settings, network type Ether. That pretty much means that it's going to transfer through the universe. No, that's wrong. That's Ethernet, of course. So we're going to set over here, set IP address. What's this? I've already got it set up. Now remote, I'm assuming is DHCP, which would be if you were to connect it to your home router or something like that, or some sort of switch or something like that. I'm not going to use DHCP because it's a pain in the butt. But you can connect this through a switch on your home network and just add like maybe a dedicated computer or something like that to it. Now the address I'm using here, it doesn't really matter. I could put in my home phone number here. It doesn't really matter what this is, but I'm using 10.0.0.2. And then of course netmask once again. Oh, and you can actually, I'll demonstrate as how you can flip through these because I hit the wrong button. So netmask again. This doesn't really matter what I'm using. I mean technically 10.0.0.2. Probably BA, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So I'm using 255.255.255.0. Again, it doesn't really matter because I'm not using any sort of configuration. Had this worked with DHCP, it would automatically pick up your local network settings, and the important part is you need to know what the IP address is. You need to know this. You need to know netmask too, although it's not quite as important. So we're going to exit out of there. We now have our network set up. Get back out of there. So I am gonna go get the computer now because I moved it. Yeah, I moved it. Let me go get it. Bam! That's right. I impersonated Lori Petty from Tank Girl, which is a strange crisis I'll have to work out later. But as you can see, my laptop's there. We got the dim board, good old network cable. Network cable plugged in over here. Pow! This is my computer. Now we mentioned before that we went ahead and set the address to 10.0.0.2 on the NetDem. So that's something that we need to know. And the specific script that I use, you go ahead and put the actual IP inside of the script. But other people use other loaders. Those loaders might vary in their way that they work, whatever. But so what I'm going to do is type some magic things into this, which I'd show you, but if I brought the camera closer it probably wouldn't focus, and then it would just be messy and I'd have to re-record this, and I don't really want to do that, so I'm just going to type that there. Yeah, you also notice that I'm using Linux, because Linux makes me feel important, you know, like the elite of the internet. If you really want to know what I'm typing here, one-handed typing, as you can see. I'm going to type in ifconfig, which is interface configuration for Linux. There's a similar, you can use the IP command in Windows, whatever you want to do here. But ifconfig ETA0 10.0.0.3 up. So 10.0.0.3, right, that's going to be the IP of my computer. The Naomi, of course, is at 10.0.0.2. So I'm going to go ahead and set that. Bang. It's going to remind me that I should pay more attention and not do that as an underprivileged user. So we're going to type that in there. We're going to type in my super secret magic password with one hand. Nobody look. Stop looking. Okay, now we're going to hit enter. Alright, now it worked that time. If you want to, you can ping it. If you want to do whatever it is that you need to do here, make sure it's working. Network's up. My network's up. I said so. So, type in this little magic command. Hey, the screen reset. What's going on there? So, oh, Naomi, why would the screen reset? So, we'll see at the bottom, it says now loading. So, oh, what's the computer doing? Computer's just hanging out over there. Computer's like, whatever. Actually, you really can't see it, but there's some little numbers that are going by really fast at the bottom left there. Yeah. What's this doing? Yeah, now loading. So while we're over here, I'll take a segue to wrap some stuff up. As mentioned, I am not using a pick. You can find a network pick, or you can not use one. Or there's also DIM boards out there that people have taken apart and hacked together and done weird stuff with, and they don't require a pick. Don't have that. Don't really want that. I'm not really too worried about it. Again, so we covered the batteries earlier. Batteries right under here. We already know that. We saw that earlier. Now the same sort of thing that I spoke about with the GD-ROM, where you have to reload the game every time if you have a dead battery. That's the same thing with the NetDem. Now here's the important part. Since I'm running with no security pick, you can see the socket in there. There's nothing there. Since I'm running with no security pick, I'm going to have to reload the game every time I start the machine anyway. This is where it would probably be handy to have sort of a dedicated computer for this, or just connected to your network at all times, or something along those lines. I'm not really too worried about it. Again, I found this DIM board, and it's got both the SCSI connector and the RG45, so if I decide that I want to go ahead and leave a certain game in there, and since I only net load my originals, which is what you should do too, don't steal from Sega, go steal from Sony. That was subliminal. Anyway, yeah, so since I have the GD-ROM option, sometimes, you know, I go ahead and wire up my GD-ROM, leave it in here if there's a game that I want to play for an extended period of time, or of course a cart, throw a cart in there, off we go. Good times. Now as you can see, we're still loading. This kind of takes some time, doesn't it? Yeah, indeed it does. So let's ponder around here. So we covered some other stuff, mess of cables. We'll come over here. You can see the audio. Hey, what? Why wouldn't I plug my JVS in? That would be silly. Load the game and then not be able to do anything. It would suck. You can do this when the power's on, but you probably shouldn't. You do it anyway. So there we go. So now that's back plugged in. So JVS audio, VGA. There's some power cables there for you. Left the GD-ROM cable plugged in for no apparent reason, but that's over there too. Audio amp, power supply. That's still the Sega IO, still hanging out there. We doing laptop? Yeah, laptop's still hanging out there. NAOMI's still hanging out. What are we doing? Oh, look at that, we're still loading. Okay. We're out of things to talk about. One of the best things about this is that you saw the setup before with the cluster bank. Oh wait, oh, what happened? The screen reset. NAOMI, why would you do that? Hey, there's a NAOMI sign again. So there's a nice little network setting. NAOMI network system. Checking memory. So this is another point we're talking about. So the 512 meg boards don't finish the memory check nearly as fast as the 256 do. So it doesn't really matter too much because you're pretty much going to sit on your thumbs for this anyway. But 256 are supposed to be a little bit faster, and from what I can see from some other people out there, they are. And again, this would be if you had a battery. Every time you started your NAOMI, you would generally just see this checking memory. If you don't have a battery, or if you have a NetDem with no security pick, you're always going to have to reload the game, and it takes a long time sometimes, and I'm impatient. I'm sure most of you are too. If you made it this far in this video, you're more patient than I am. This is ridiculous. Anyway, oh, there's a NAOMI sign again. Yeah, okay, we know what we're playing here. Yeah, what does that say? What is that? That doesn't look right. Oh, there's a warning sign. To be only used in Japan. I might be in Japan. No, I don't think I am in Japan. There's that little Guilty Gear thing on oh, what is that? It's a Cryware sign. So, Arc System Works. What? Oh no, a wild Guilty Gear appears. You know, again, so we saw me playing Capcom vs SNK 2, which is another title that you can probably find out there that you can net load. But we're gonna play a good game. As you can see, there's the original right there. Probably a little bit out of focus. You can't read it. Just go with me. It says Guilty Gear Accent Core, and there we are. So, you know, we can start in. I'm not gonna play because my control panel's facing the ground, and I'd have to be upside down, and it would take two hands. Now, one thing I am going to show you is that if at any point, generally, if the network becomes unplugged and then comes back online, the NAOMI usually resets, and you have to reload the game. If you unplug the laptop there for an extended period of time, again, depending on which loader you use and whether you have a security pick and all that other stuff, the game will reset. Right now the game's not resetting, which is good because we don't really want it to reset. But what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and head into the test mode here. Now, of course, every NAOMI game, you'll see at the bottom there it says Guilty Gear Accent Core. Every NAOMI game you have your game test mode. You can go in there and make assignments. Now the trick to the NAOMI is that if you change the cart, then your settings go away. So how does that work with a NetDem? Well, if you continuously reload the same game, you're fine. Your settings are there. If you reload a different game, well, then it clears all of that data. So anybody out there that wants to play some Marvel vs. Capcom 2 with all the characters, yeah, don't go learn the code, because that would really suck to have to keep unlocking them and changing games in between and then wondering where all your characters went. But I would find it really funny if you made a forum post about it and couldn't figure out where your characters are. So, we reset the system here. Here's another bad thing. Oh, wait, what is this? Error 33. Gateway. Oh, that's right. I don't have a security pick. Computer's unplugged. I'm going to have to reload the game. There's kind of a pattern here. You have to be very careful, or you have to reload the game. Alright, well, that's enough. See you guys later.